As a lot of you may know, I like classic Fallout. I've made a couple videos for better or for worse, and they've been cemented into my quick access cache of games that I can talk about for hours on end. On that notion, I was recommended this game Death Trash by my buddy and fellow YouTuber MrHammers. Thanks again, bud. I looked into the game and I decided that I'll give it a whirl, and man, am I sure glad that I did, because Death Trash is truly something special. Well, so far. A couple of disclaimers to start. Death Trash is in early access at the moment, hence the ominous "so far" in my title, and everything I say here is on the game in its current status and may completely go to shit on further development. That's yet to be seen. I highly doubt that it will, and I severely hope that it doesn't, but I will announce that anyways, just because. Also, I received a copy of this game for the free. I am under no obligation to say anything about this game, let alone anything good, so the fact that I received it for free means nothing other than I can afford some extra guac on my Chipotle this week because I saved 20 bucks. But again, I just thought I would announce that before diving in and offering full disclosure on the situation. Disclaimer's done, now let's hop into it. Even though I'm just getting a whiff of the puke stench coming off of this game, it's been in development and garnering an audience since 2015. Most of that development being done solo by Steven Hovelbrinks. I'm sure that I mispronounced that, and I'm sorry for my American tongue. Starting in 2020 though, the game has been upscaled to a small team to finish the project. It's been covered far and wide, and my procrastinating ass has decided to say something about it as well. Put briefly, Death Trash is an action RPG that mixes post-apocalypse aesthetic with Lovecraftian horror and Tarantino violence and grotesqueness. It fuses the gameplay of classic Fallout and Hotline Miami in all the right ways. It's a wholly unique experience while still flaunting its inspirations, most notably Fallout. It's isometric, has pixelated, gnarly aesthetics, boasts witty and charismatic dialogue and characters, as well as a fleshed out world map allowing for immediate exploration in any direction. It doesn't hold you back, and it sure as hell does not hold your hand. Following suit, the narrative of this game is vague and often relies on you paying attention. It's very Lovecraftian forward. There is a lot unknown and a lot left unexplained, especially right now when the game is still a work in progress, but even in minor ways that leave a pretty big impact. You'll find notes on groups of people hinting at bigger things happening in the world, but nothing is ever thrown in your face. None of these insane encounters are required as far as I can tell. This is the main thing that made me so upset that this game isn't complete yet, because I explored every last crevice of this world that there is to offer, and I wanted more. It's just so compelling and easy to get lost in. As far as the main plot goes, I really don't want to get into spoilers, but essentially the game starts on a planet called Nexus, centuries after an event called the Bleeding. The world is ravaged, as this is an apocalyptic event of some kind. Civilization is holed up in what remains, while strange creatures, friendly and otherwise, are scattered across the land, as well as flesh, just left in piles everywhere. The established force at the beginning seems to be machines. You're first greeted by these robots at the start of the game, where your character is being banished from their society due to some sort of sickness. Not much else is really said, you're just told to leave, so that's what you do. It's a weird interaction with the robots. They don't seem menacing in any way. They come off more as caretakers, and with the explanation that you have an illness and you may be a threat to the society as a whole, you kind of have an understanding as to why you're being banished. They even offer you a training course on how to properly handle yourself on the surface world. It's basically a tutorial, teaching you main controls and mechanics of the game, like opening containers, interacting with the world, stealth, combat, and puking. You know, all the basics, really. You find out real quick that this game's gonna be gross. Arriving on the surface, you first come across this lovable creature called the Flesh Kraken. You can remarkably communicate with it and learn that it desires friends. It's lonely. This is your first quest of the game, to find friends for the Flesh Kraken, and it really just goes from there. You aren't given any quest markers or any waypoints. You're given a direction, and really only given that if you ask. And the rest is up to you. The main quest, if you will, is discovered in one of the later towns you come across, and it's essentially you diving into your affliction. Quite literally, it seems, to find out just what the fuck is happening in this game. All the dialogue is quick and witty, beautifully written, with a healthy amount of sarcasm and comedy thrown in to contrast the bleak, post-apocalyptic vibe. Characters are memorable, and side quests are a lot of fun, some being super in-depth and meaningful, and some not so much. The combat is quick and satisfying and pretty varied from what I've seen so far. There are melee weapons categorized not only by blunt or sharp, but also on the style of use, like these big hammers that are good if you have high strength and you want to go slow but have hard hitting blows, or things like this sword that are better for hacking and slashing your way through shit. There's also firearms like pistols and shotguns and rifles, all with their own skill classes that you can rank up to your preferred style of play, and plenty more like energy weapons, rocket launchers, cybernetic abilities. There's no shortage to how you choose to kill things. The way you approach combat is also unique to you. Since it's not turn-based, you can wander into hostiles at any given notice and shit will promptly hit the fan. You can run in for melee hits, you can start blasting, or you can use stealth to get some critical hits in. I personally went for a stealth character with a focus on sharp melee weapons and ranged firearms. I tried to consider myself an assassin, even though I was tempted many a times to live up to my namesake. The best part about this game is the cleanliness of the mechanics in the UI. There are so many creature comforts in this game that it honestly just feels so damn good to play. Things like being able to fast travel to different areas of a town with these posted signs, to circumvent walking around any more than you need to. As an RPG, you have the characteristics and stats to assign to your character to role play. But when you first start a game, you don't really know what to expect or really what each skill may do. Like, what the fuck is occultism or animalism? This game takes that into account and allows you to stash skill points until you may need them later on, or until you figure out what direction you want to go or how you want to take things. You can move your character around the map by clicking a desired location with the mouse, like Fallout, but you can also switch it up and use the keys if you'd like to, which helps a ton with the real-time combat in this game. The thought and memory system is brilliant. Reading notes and documents gives you the option to memorize them, storing the information in your head, becoming easily accessible later on if you need to reference them, while also clearing your inventory, keeping everything nice and tidy. But not only that, unique encounters leave a lasting impression on your character. And some experiences leave you with memories that can be equipped into your mind to possibly give you a stat boost or some other kind of benefit. Kind of like a toned down version of Disco Elysium's Thought Cabinet. Everything in this game is just so well engineered with such tight specs. It's so efficient. It's like a German car. Everything is where it needs to be and it works properly. Wait a minute. Okay, alright, that makes sense. It's unavoidable to compare this game to Fallout. The isometric style, the open world map allows you to travel anywhere at any time, entering towns and name locations as you please, as well as coming across random encounters that can be friendly or not so much. The RPG system actually allows you to play how you want to play. The game is very proud in boasting that you can kill everything and anyone that you want to, if that's the game that you're going for. But I swear to God, if you kill the Flesh Kraken, we cannot be friends. There's no exceptions. It's truly like a modernized Fallout game, but it's nowhere near a knockoff. It flaunts its inspiration, sure, but it's a wholly unique experience, and it far improves on so many things. The combat is better, and it works more appropriately in this game. Things are much more fast-paced and reactive. The UI is clean and intuitive, and although there's no voice acting to be had, the narrative is written strong and the characters all have soul to them, which is more than you can say for a lot of Fallout characters that aren't part of the main quest. It's hard to avoid comparing the games, but really Death Trash is its own thing and deserves praise for what it is. With that being said, the game definitely is early access. It's not that it's broken or anything, but there are many things right now that are straight up useless. Referencing back to occultism and animalism, traits that I mentioned before, animalism is used solely on taming these flesh worms that you find across the map that you can use to throw at your enemies to help, I guess. But other than that, the skill doesn't come up anymore. And occultism just straight up doesn't come up at all that I found. Also, the crafting system seems really unestablished right now. You can make things like ammunition and lockpicks, but that's about it. Which isn't terrible if I didn't make it a point to disassemble all my extra items and guns, or make it a point to collect every crafting resource that I found scattered across the map, only to not use any of them because the system is incomplete. These aren't really cons though, it's just a matter of the game not being complete at the moment, which is to be expected in an early access game. This game gave me a good 6 hours or so on a single playthrough, easily allowing you to jump back in and play another one to explore all the different character builds available at the moment. Every moment that I spent in this game was a blast though, and I can easily say that it's worth picking up for its current price, just on the promise alone that the full game will be released next year. If you are against buying in early access, I definitely understand. At least throw this game in your wish list if you might be interested, because that still helps the developers out and it's definitely a game that's worth supporting. But that's really all I have to say on this game. I wasn't expecting to do a video at all, but I just enjoyed it so much, and since I know so many of you are fans of the classic Fallout games, I thought I'll just spread the love and give some awareness and a solid recommendation to this game for any that may be interested. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. I know this isn't my normal retrospective style of video, but if you made it this far, just know that I appreciate you, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.
Pick